Live from the KHOU 11 studios, it's Great Day Houston. And now, here's your host, Deborah Duncan.
Good morning and welcome to Great Day Houston, everybody. It's that time of year again. The countdown is on to Christmas Day.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
All right, is it really? You're fighting over whose family you're sharing Christmas Day with. Your holiday shopping list is long, but your finances are running short. And your mother-in-law always reminds you of how much juicier her turkey seems to turn out. Is it really the most wonderful time of the year? Our guests today say, in order for that to happen, we have to learn what gifts to unwrap and which ones should remain under the tree. In other words, pick your battles, set some boundaries, and get real. If you need help getting through the holidays and really making it the most wonderful time of the year, then it's time to ask the therapist. And please welcome to the show relationship counselor and therapist Emily deAyala, the clinical director from Living Well Professional Counseling Services, Shana D. Lewis, and teaching pastor from Second Baptist Church, Craig Reynolds. Also, if you have a relationship question of any kind, we're taking your calls. The number is 713-284-1055, 713-284-1055. All right, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, all kinds of studies show that this is the time of year where people stress out so much more. We see heart attack rates go up, strokes go up. We even see something serious like suicides go up this time of year. And the interesting thing is that a lot of that pressure has nothing to do with Christmas. Craig?
Very true.
We get lost in all that, don't we?
We do. It's self-inflicted a lot of times. Pressures that we think people are put on us and expectations we think people have for us, and we put it on ourselves.
Yeah. Well, you're used to expectations. You played professional baseball. And, of course, when you go out there, the expectation is for you to win every game.
Yeah, I'm trying to get over that now.
Yeah.
I'm living past that now.
Yeah, but tell us what you're doing now.
Now I'm the teaching pastor at the Second Baptist Church North Campus in Kingwood, and I absolutely love what I'm doing. Been on staff for 20 years now, and my favorite thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, and of course the thing is to help bring balance into people's lives.
And giving people the truth makes all the difference.
Yeah, all right. And so you help us kind of establish the field here. You help especially young people deal with feelings and how to negotiate a lot of that type of stuff.
Absolutely. The holidays can be really tough for young people, for anyone actually, but I work really closely with clients who are struggling through the holidays to deal with all of the pressures and the stress that can come.
Yeah. And Emily, part of the reason is, again, we associate so many things that have nothing to really do with the holiday.
It's true, especially this time of year. I hear more and more about, how do I deal with my in-laws, how to cope with that, and so I think that's a running theme, and just the stress that it can put on a relationship as well.
Yeah, all right. Let's start with one of the things I know is that parents oftentimes have a tendency to associate how much they love their children with the gifts that they buy them. You want to, your child's sitting there going, Santa, I want this, and Santa, I want that, and you're thinking, I gotta make them believe in Santa, and I want to buy them these gifts. We have to keep that in balance as well, because you cannot equate your love with what you can afford in terms of, your love is priceless, right?
It's true, yeah. I think, some of my favorite memories as a child is, we would get our gifts and that sort of thing, but we would also do the Adopt a Family program a lot of years, and I just thought it was so fun to go into the other neighborhoods and bring gifts to these families who are really in need. So I think that by balancing that, you can give kids the perspective that they sometimes seem to lack. I was looking at a friend's niece's Christmas list the other night, and iPhone was on there twice. So I think that, kids do have a tendency to kind of have these expectations. So the more we can do to help manage that and to balance their perspectives, the better.
Yeah, it's like my son already has Xbox, right?
Right.
He goes, oh, but Mom, there's Xbox One now. You can tell it what to do. I'm like, you are 10 years old. You cannot walk 5 feet to the thing and just press the on button. He goes, oh, no, but I need the... Sometimes when we fulfill those lists all the time, we're raising children that have other issues when they grow up.
Well, and I think you're absolutely right. What we forget as parents sometimes, 'cause I'm a mother of 2 young children who have long Christmas lists already as well, but it's the time that we spend together that means the most.
Yeah.
5 years from now, or really 6 weeks from now, they're not going to know about that toy. It's going to be in the bottom of the trash can. And so the time that was spent is going to matter much more than anything that you could give them.
For a lot of us, those are the memories that we have, right?
Absolutely. I would just challenge you to think back to your childhood. How many of your gifts do you really remember? You really don't remember your list. You don't remember the things that were that important. Maybe a bicycle one year or something like that. But beyond that, you really don't. It's about the time, it's about the family, it's about the relationships.
In fact, it was like actually one of my toys that has still traumatizes me today. And so I do remember this toy. It's a Chatty Cathy doll. And my sister told me if I cut the string to it, she'll talk by herself. And I waited, and I stared that doll down. I'm like, Chatty, you got to say something. And I figured out at that moment that my sister, who was 6 years older than me, than I idolized, actually, she lied to me. We have problems in our relationship to this day. And speaking of problems in the relationship with family, that's the other tough part, is that we are expected to come together and get along. And it's interesting how many families, and it's okay to say, don't get along the entire year, but somehow when you come together, you're expected to be like all happy in the whole bit. So different ways to negotiate that as well. And so that's what boundaries, that's being truthful, that's what?
Sure, and I feel like some of the theme that I've noticed in my counseling lately as these in-law issues have come up is telling people just to kind of roll with it. You know, especially if it's just maybe 3 or 4 days that you're spending a year all together, it may be a little bit stressful, but you can't expect to go into this family and change the entire family dynamic to fit the family that you grew up in, because there are differences.
Or even within your own family, expect you to get along if you haven't been for the last 20 years.
Exactly. And so, just knowing, pick your battles, like you said, I think that's really important, and to really take care of yourself. If you need to, say, hey, I'm going to go for a run this morning just to get out of the house, then do that for yourself.
And we won't spend a week, we'll spend 1 hour, you get 1 hour. And Craig, the other battle for a lot of parents when their kids grow up is, ooh, whose house are we going to spend the holidays with? And so your family created a new tradition.
Well, we did, and I am an in-law now, so I'm one of the culprits. I'm one of the bad guys. And we have 2 of our kids are married, one's not, and both of our children are married to people with families in other cities. Our daughter-in-law is from Phoenix, and our son-in-law is from Colorado. And we try to have an on year and an off year. We try to have the kids home the same Christmas and then go on the same Christmas. That's the expectation we hope for, but we know it may not work. And so if it doesn't, we just have to roll with it and make the best of what we have and not sweat it. So far, it's good. This year, we did Christmas with those 2 kids at Thanksgiving. They were both here for Thanksgiving, and so we did the Christmas with them and our 4 grandkids on Saturday after Thanksgiving, had a great time with them. And so we can relax and enjoy Christmas now.
Yeah, that's right. You're not playing Santa Claus to anybody on Christmas. Yeah.
Well, my wife.
Go to church. Oh, yeah, you do have to take care of it. All right. Santa baby, Santa under the tree. All right, let's go to the phone lines. We have Kim on the line this morning. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
All right. So what is your question for our therapist?
My question is basically, how do I coexist with my husband during the holidays? It seems that every holiday is always this unspoken tension, and we immediately go to our separate parts of the house every December.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, the holidays, at the same time, they can bring great memories for some people. It is the most hurtful time for others. And I'll just use this as an example. I had a boyfriend years ago who he remembers every Christmas they'd write their list out for their dad who was gone. And his dad would say, you want that G.I. Joe? I'm going to get that G.I. Joe for you boys. And they go wait by the mailbox. And it would never come. And so the holidays were particularly hard for them. And she's saying that they both kind of have this tension. And Kim, are you still on the line with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. So, I guess the question would be why that time of year would be one of tension for either one of you.
I guess years ago it started off with the finances and what we can do and what we cannot do for our 4 kids. And eventually it always turned into an argument or the lack of the funds. So he doesn't deal with it. He doesn't talk about it. He just pretty much is leave it alone because he say he can't do anything about it. To, me and him, we don't exchange gifts because everything is always for the kids. So it just evolved into this every December we just do not talk. He goes to work. He works overtime. I take care of the kids. And, whenever we try to talk, it's always just unspoken distance. He's so stressed. I'm so stressed.
Craig, I think it's particularly tough still in our society, even though we say women, we can work and the whole bit too. It's particularly tough for men who are the heads of household.
It is, and society has this expectation on us, but it's really a false expectation. Just like we talked about a minute ago, the best thing that man can provide for his family is himself, is being there for them. He's there, he's working overtime, she said. And I would say to her, honor your husband in front of your children so they hear how special he is working that hard for them. Yeah. Whether they get the iPhone or not is really irrelevant.
Right.
They've got a family that loves them, cares for them, and honor him. And if he'll honor her in front of them, it'll take a lot of that tension away, I think. It's about the relationship way more than the gifts.
Yeah. And speaking of traditions, I remember the year I was cleaning apartments before I was going into work because I had no money. And I wanted to get gifts for, and I thought, I got to do, and I was also alone in a city. I thought, I want to do something. But that's the year I started going to shelters. And if you don't have money, you got time and you have a touch and you have a conversation. And I just remember women who would look at me and say, thank you for recognizing me. And you look them in the eye and you tell them, you know, and you encourage them. That is so priceless. And it really was in line for me with what the season is about. So taking that family down to a shelter, spending time with them, or taking little cookies, chocolate chip cookies to these little kids and letting your kids see that how valuable your family is, because there are other kids out there, that's all they want.
The other thing that I was thinking about too, Deborah, is the importance of a conversation. So if he's in one room and she's in another room, then we're not having a conversation about what's going on here. And I think it's really important to have that conversation and be empathic with him, obviously, because he has his stressors as being the head of the household, but then creating your own traditions that don't involve money.
Yeah.
There's so many things that
a lot of money.
Right.
You know?
I mean, you can go look at Christmas lights, you can go volunteer. I mean, there's lots of options that we have that are free.
Yeah, and just say, it's okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this has been a pattern for them over the years. I heard her say that this happens every December. If maybe they can at least start opening the dialogue ahead of time or after the holidays, take a look back and reflect and say, okay, what can we do differently next year so that this doesn't happen and that we can enjoy our time together as a family?
Yeah. But I think really coming up with that tradition where you go and take care of someone else without the money, just your time, can really do a lot for the family as well. Well, there are lots of things that bring joy over the holidays, but today on Facebook, we want to know, what is your pet peeve? Is it people who have their children stand in a parking spot until they can circle around and get it? Oh, yeah. I've seen that happen before. I was like, you better move, little boy. You better, no, I didn't, no. My mom used to do that to us, actually. We'd stand there, it's like, my mommy's coming. No, I'm not moving, my mommy's coming. Or is it the person who expects a nice gift from you, but you're sure they rummaged through their junk pile to find your gift? Log on, let us know, and we'll get advice on how to handle that pet peeve. Well, if you have something you want to ask the therapist about love and relationships, family relationships, or just getting through the holiday blues, call us at 713-284-1055. 713-284-1055. We'll tackle the issue of divorced families dealing with holiday pressures and take your questions next.